Welcome to the Wedding Obsessed podcast designed to help you plan your dream day. I'm your host, Adriana, and each week I'm joined by the wedding industry's top professionals, celebs, influencers, and friends who share tips, trends, advice, and mistakes they've made so you don't have to. This is the Prenup Podcast. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This is the last episode of Season 1 of the Prenup Podcast. We're ending Season 1 on a really great note with today's guest, Denise Marie Photography. For anyone who doesn't know Denise, she is a very well-known, acclaimed photographer in the Philadelphia area. She, of course, travels as well, but that's her home base, and that's roundabout where I'm from, if anyone did not know that. It was awesome to do the episode with Denise because she's not only a friend of mine, but she shared interesting anecdotes about the mind of a wedding photographer and things that someone like you or I might not have thought of if you were not a wedding photographer. She also shares really helpful tips about what to look for when you're choosing a wedding photographer, how to make sure that you can assist your photographer in getting the best photos possible, so getting the best bang for your buck, and tips on making sure your photos are both flattering but artistic, as well as staying on trend but lasting the test of time. I have everywhere you can find Denise listed in the show notes. But before we get into the meat of the episode, I just want to give a really quick but sincere, heartfelt thank you for all of the listeners and subscribers / followers of this podcast. Because of you, it's grown so much in Season 1 and hopefully will grow even more so in Season 2 and well beyond. But as a thank you, I wanted to give you a gift. So if you listen to the end of each episode, you know we do a monthly giveaway of our Prenup Bridal Prep Planner. But in addition to that, we're doing another giveaway that you guys are going to love. You heard me talking about SmartLabels on last week's episode. It's such a great product and it's so versatile, whether you're planning your wedding or you're moving or you just have a lot of things in storage. So the way it works is you download the SmartLabels app, and that's available on iOS and Android. Then you label your boxes. Each label has a unique identifier and color to help you organize your boxes. Then you're going to scan the label. In the app, you can give each box a name, location, description, pictures, as well as descriptions of each item inside. And that's going to help you easily find any item that you're searching for, whether that's your DIY centerpieces or your bridesmaids gifts for the morning of your wedding. You can search for it in the app and it'll tell you the exact location of the box, as well as the label color, identifier, and any uploaded pictures. So you're not going to have to unstack a million boxes, rummage through everything to try to find that one thing that you're looking for, only to find out that it was actually in your mom's garage and not in your attic. You can find out what's in the box without ever actually having to open it. So the winners will not only get this 48 pack of SmartLabel stickers, but they will also get 1 year free of the SmartLabel app. I just got mine in and I'm so excited because within the next couple weeks, I'm going to be putting away all of my Christmas decor, and it was very difficult to find all of the things that I was looking for this year. So SmartLabels is going to make that really, really easy for me. To enter, just send a screenshot of your follow or subscribe on whatever platform that you listen or watch this podcast on to my email, which is adriana@the-pre-nup.com. I'll list that in the show notes. And if you want to know more about SmartLabels, visit qrsmartlabels.com. Thank you to SmartLabels for sponsoring this episode, and good luck to all our participants. With that, let's get into our episode with Denise Marie Photography. We start every episode with a cocktail hour.
Okay.
So essentially that's just kind of going through like what's new in your world, in the wedding world, what's going on right now. We're in like a little bit of an off season for weddings. Right now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting there.
Yes. So have you slowed down in terms of weddings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When was your last?
So this past weekend, I had a wedding. And then I have one coming this weekend.
Yeah.
And then one more at the end of the month.
And then you're done
And
for the year.
Then like maybe 3 through the winter.
Just sprinkled.
And then April it picks back up.
Yeah, because you mostly shoot in Philly.
Mostly. I do have a wedding in Punta Cana, January 15th. January 11th through the 15th, I'll be in Punta Cana for a wedding.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be so fun.
Especially when it's cold.
Yes.
I like love that.
To break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Is the couple from the Philly area or are they?
They're from Allentown area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So like familiar with you and that's a huge part of like choosing a photographer that I want to get into also. So I'll put a little pin in that, but just like being comfortable with someone. So for off-season, quote unquote off-season for a photographer, what does that look like for you? Are you just spending time with like marketing stuff? Like what goes on in that lull period?
So a lot of that is spent. So like I'm doing a rebrand. So right now I have a new logo. I have a new website. It's in the back end. I'm approving things with my designer.
So exciting.
I love her. She's so good.
Oh, who is she?
Her name is Tori, and she's with Harper Maven.
Okay.
So her company's called Harper Maven. She does a lot of photographers and wedding planners.
Cool.
And people that I like.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I found her.
Sure.
Her aesthetic is in line. So we've been working together for a long time now, because when busy season's happening, I can't approve and look at stuff, and she asks me for things. I don't have time
Absolutely.
to pick those images and give her the things that she needs. So I was like, can we just like wait till we get, so now I'm dealing with that, and I'm excited. I want to do like a new, I need to do like a rebranding shoot for myself. Like I need to be photographed for the website.
Who does your photos?
It depends. Last time I chose a photographer that I really loved a lot. And she is from the Maryland area.
Okay.
So her name is Nikki, and I never can say her last name.
Well, that must be so hard from your end, because like your work is so beautiful, and you have this eye that a lay person like myself might not have on a photo. I might see something and be like, "Oh my God, that looks great," but you're seeing it through another lens, no pun intended, right? Like, is it hard to judge or not judge other people's work?
So what I judge work by is if I'm bored. Is it bore me, or does it hit me in the gut?
Ooh.
I like when a photo like hits me in the gut. Like the light is interesting, the feeling is interesting.
Yeah.
Something quirky, something different.
Yes.
And like not every image can be that.
Sure.
Right? Like you might shoot a wedding and only get a handful of those. Like rock star. Like I want to put like that's a photograph. That's not just a picture.
Right.
Like Uncle Bob could not have taken that picture. There's way too much feeling and je ne sais quoi about that photo.
Sure.
And like, so sometimes like because I have associates and like people, I look up to. So I have people that come to me, but then I have people that I look up to. And the people that I look up to, they often have shot film.
Yeah.
So like I can tell if somebody has shot film.
Okay.
You can tell by their editing style.
Yes.
And like you can tell if somebody has the artistry of it, like the feeling, getting that feeling. That's really what I look for.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
That's it.
The artistry, that's where that comes in.
The artistry. Because with AI, everything's AI now, okay?
Dude, don't even get me started.
Now we have digital social media content creators that are great. I love having them.
Yes.
But tomorrow you can get your whole gallery
Right.
on an iPhone.
But that's just the thing too. So like,
But where's the artistry?
Right.
Okay.
And that's where like there's this really interesting conversation.
Sorry, I got passionate.
No, I love that you did.
AI is on the cusp. We are on the cusp.
It scares me in so many ways, and
not
for things like that. Like I feel like actually in artistry, it's almost more beneficial to have it, and it's not something that can really be replaced. Like you can't
because it
replace
contrasts us, right?
Right.
So it's like light highlights and shadows. Like
right.
The closer you put a white to the black, it makes it so like if AI shows artistry, because AI, like even my friends that use AI to cull and edit, they still have to go back through one more time.
Yes.
And like look through everything. And I haven't adapted to that yet.
Of course.
And not to the AI editing and all that. Because even though it's faster, it's slower. But like I saw a wedding that was culled AI, and some of the photos that it picked and that didn't pick, I wanted that one of grandma. Like I wanted that one of the quirky little moment with the flower girls. AI didn't know that.
Right.
I don't know how to explain it.
That's
sometimes
just the
it does, but like by accident, I think. I don't know.
Even in any industry, you still have to know exactly what to tell AI, because it only knows whatever we're going to put into it. So it is interesting.
And then it like compounds on it, I guess.
Totally. Yeah. And it learns it, whatever.
I wonder how it's going to affect the photography world. I hope it just helps us and like gives us more tools,
Yeah. Because there's no way, like, especially day of, like someone needs to be there getting those shots.
Yeah.
Like there's no AI that could capture real moments.
And that's
like,
the art of photography is I just love it. That's after 16 years why I'm still here.
16 years.
That's why 16 years I'm not burnt out.
Yes.
I have my moments because I did 67 weddings this year. I personally shot. So
Oh my
for
gosh,
me,
it's time for a nap.
For me, yeah. So for me, I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm tired.
Yes.
I need to recharge, just like you need to charge anything. But when I get back in it in April fully, or like these sprinkled weddings, it's like gives me wind, and like you get inspiration outside of the wedding industry too.
Right.
Like when you travel, like that's why the winter I like to travel.
Yeah.
I like to do things that inspire me. Like
Yes.
I notice I get more into like fashion and beauty in the winter. I get more interested in like just beauty and filling myself with anything that like is going to get me back to a place of exciting.
What lately
excited.
is inspiring you?
Modern. I'm like I love this new, fresh, modern, like clean, sophisticated.
Yes.
Like Vogue.
Yeah.
Kind of like just clean minimalist.
Yes.
I love that. Just something that's just not what we've been seeing.
Right.
I love chateaus. I will never get tired of chateaus.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of loving where I'm at right now with like the city, modern, motion, emotion, and like I love the direct flash, a little bit of it in there, and the motion blur and the light trails, and just like having a little bit more fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there's like a little bit, like everything's not so buttoned up and tight, like
Because when it comes to
freer.
weddings, a lot of times it can be because there's so much emphasis on tradition and these certain elements that it feels like very buttoned up and like pretty princess, and to kind of diverge from that a little bit where you can.
And I don't want to be that like, I don't want my photos to be stiff, perfect, like, oh, they posed for that shot.
Right.
I don't want that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
It's like in olden times where you have to like stand still for,
however
long.
So I will say every now and then those like epic, like, the photos where you do have like the guy seated and her standing behind, and it's like regal with like, and it's in an old, sometimes it works.
It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, like Vanity Fair style, like the whole bridal party. But like, you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Like just not so
like she's touching his face so perfectly, and her hand is like,
it looks like almost like a bad fashion ad in like a teen Vogue.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like a prom ad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
totally. So I was gonna ask you, you've lived a lot of lives. So you and I recently got coffee and we chit-chatted a lot. And
I could talk to you for hours.
I could talk to you
days.
forever. You're so sweet and charismatic and talented. And you've done a lot career-wise, like pivoted so many things. So what drew you to photography? Like, what was that passion? And specifically wedding photography. Like,
You're so sweet.
oh my God.
Thank you for asking.
Yes.
It's really sweet.
Absolutely.
My dad was a wedding photographer on the side.
Yes.
He shot film.
Yes.
And so I saw him do that, but like when I was little, and I didn't really think it was like that cool yet.
Yeah.
And
like
we didn't.
that.
Yeah. And so, but like as I got older and I got more into like finding out I was an artist, and it didn't matter what medium I was going to express. I love music, art, painting, drawing, watercolor, calligraphy, dance. I mean, literally any art expression, like I want to do it, But photography called me, I feel, because like it was in my home. My dad, it was always on the walls. My dad was into it. I felt like pulled to it. And then my dad, he was like, you should just like try to like go with a friend and like second shoot. And he would always say that. He's like, So my girlfriend, she was a wedding photographer, and she was like, I need a website. And I was designing websites at the time.
Okay.
And she was like, I'm replacing my whole kit. I'll give you my camera and the lens. It was like a 25 to 70 millimeter lens. It was like, or some kind of lens, some Tamron lens. It was broken too. I had to send it. I had to put it in the shop, and I used it, and I second shot for another friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I like this.
Yeah.
And then I started doing like shoots, like doing model calls on MySpace. That's how long ago.
Yes, I remember the days.
Yeah, like I'm looking for models.
Yeah.
Back in those days, and we would like do slideshows, and like people thought that was the coolest thing ever.
How do you mean slideshows? Like PowerPoint slideshows?
I forget what application we used to make them, but like just like a legit like slideshow that you could put in the MySpace like as one of your messages.
Ah,
So it was
okay.
like a slideshow,
Yeah.
but the pictures were flash. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
It was like our version of Reels.
Okay,
For
yeah,
MySpace
yeah.
back in the day.
How funny.
Like in 2007.
Oh my gosh.
2005.
Yeah. Okay.
This all was transpiring in like 2000. I'm so old. I know.
No, you're
I'm like,
not so old. Are you nut?
I'm
oh my
44.
gosh.
But
oh my
the
gosh, you're young.
2007 was when I shot the first wedding and was like, okay, you know. And then it just like started to snowball.
Yeah.
And I was in publishing. I was working for magazines. And I was in the photo department and always around amazing photography with celebrity photos.
Yeah.
And like just for years, just absorbing that and being in that environment and like photo editing for international editions of this major publication. So like Men's Health, Women's Health, Runner's World. And so it was really cool to like have that experience and that's why I think I'm more editorial now because I was in magazines for so long.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
With the designers, the photo editors, internationally too, to like understand, oh, Men's Health India needs these images, you know, for this workout or this recipe or whatever, but blah, blah, blah. And how much do we pay for this? What are the photographers reuse? All that stuff.
Right.
And then stock imagery, like just learning, you know.
Yes, absolutely. Like
And
every
then,
road led you there.
But weddings were my heart because I like fashion and beauty. And I think I relate to brides.
Yeah.
Like, I know how she's feeling. And it's like the most hopeful, exciting time in this girl's life. Like, she is for a year, she is the happiest. Like, there is a glow about a bride. She is a very unique, this is a very unique emotional state you're in.
Yes.
And if you understand the psychology of a bride, you can help them and they will love you and feel comfortable in front of your camera and then they will like the photos. If you do not make a bride feel comfortable and she's anxious as all get out, that is not good for the photos.
It's
know?
so true. And it goes back to something that you and I actually chatted about, like, you're very smart, talented. Like you could have done anything. You were in every industry, but you chose wedding photography. And it is an industry that a lot of time like keeps you away from social things because you're working when people are playing.
Yes.
And it takes up your weekends, but you're not doing it for your health.
Right.
And if you were doing it for the money, like we said before, like you would just be an accountant or do something that, just
I would have
pays the
just been a
bills.
compliance officer.
Exactly.
Because I could have made, decent money and left it at home at 5:00, weekends, and 5 weeks paid vacation.
Exactly.
And job security because banks always need compliance officers.
Yeah.
And I was able, that was right there. There was a choice for me.
Yes.
Go that route or take a risk.
Yes.
And do this wedding photography thing full time. And I chose this.
Absolutely.
And it was the best decision I ever made.
And it takes a special
truly.
person to do it because there's a lot of elements that have to marry to be a successful wedding vendor or any person in the wedding industry. You really, really have to love it. And you have to be as excited for the couple
bride.
as they are or more.
Yeah.
And
I'm an empath.
I can tell. I can tell.
Very
You,
much.
like,
I feel people's energy. When I show up on the wedding day, I feel if mom's upset. I can see it. Even if she doesn't say it, even if she has a smile on her face, I can feel, I'm like, okay, I have to deal with mom. I have to make sure mom's okay.
Yes.
I can feel people's energy. And then photography, the artistry, the machine of it, who cares?
Right.
A robot could do that part. Okay?
Exactly.
The real magic happens when you're feeling everything in the room. If something's going wrong, especially on a wedding day, you have to kind of navigate that. If you can fix it, you fix it.
Yes.
Because sometimes you can.
Yes.
Sometimes you just make them realize that's not a big deal.
That's the thing.
I'm at 67 weddings. This is one in your lifetime.
Yes.
trust me, this is not a big deal.
Yeah, you won't even remember this. Like that's the thing, like that comfort level. And I was started in the industry with a company that really just prioritized. It's like, if the couple wants it, the couple gets it. And like, this is their special day. And they are like the prince or princess or, like the celebrity. Like it was very focused on that.
That's awesome.
That's like how
that's luxury.
It is.
That truly is luxury.
It is.
So I've experienced luxury too, like going to Engage. I went to Engage with the wedding planners because wedding planners, they truly hold everything.
Yeah.
I admire them, and you're a wedding planner.
Yeah,
and
know, vice versa. Like it doesn't, like one doesn't work without the other. It's so important to like be able to have.
And we're kind of holding at times what feels like an equal burden, even though it's not. Because like I'm not worried about tablecloths or candlesticks or something.
Still,
but
it's like.
But if I'm not on time, and I mess her up, which would never happen. But you know what I'm saying. It's
Absolutely.
like we all have to communicate and be on the same team.
Of course.
And, I always try to make sure our timelines all match. But the wedding planner, the going to Engage, luxury, back to that, the luxury, that's what luxury is. It's providing the service. Because like when I go away, like I just went to Aruba.
Yes. Yep.
So like if you go to the Ritz-Carlton, they're going to treat you differently than the Holiday Inn.
Exactly. And
right?
It is what it is. It's not that you'll have a bad experience
no,
at the
Holiday Inn was still nice. It was on the beach.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just
still, but when you go to the Ritz-Carlton,
it's a different caliber.
It's a different, they want to really make sure you're comfortable.
Yes.
So I want to be luxury. So I enjoy luxury.
Yes.
I personally enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I live in that space. And I want to be with other couples who live in that space, and I want to give them a good experience. And I think giving someone a good experience and like being in tune with how they feel and what they need, that's real luxury.
Yes,
it's not money and Louis Vuitton and all that. It's or go whatever it is, or millions of dollars. It's that like
you said it.
Yeah.
You said it. I'll never forget it. The first place I worked, my boss said to me, people will forget about the food and they'll forget about the music and they'll forget about this or that, but they'll never forget the way they felt that night. And it's all about making the couple feel special and anyone who's involved. Like this is a group experience. That's why the couple has invited their loved ones. Like they want that picture of like grandma dancing, like, and the photos are, I think, like more than the planner, more than anything, like they're the number one thing because that's what people want to see.
That's what you have after.
That's what you have after. And even videography, like I think videography is really, really important. Yeah. But it's still like the photos are the thing. Like that's why we always snap a picture. Like we're not always taking videos. Yeah.
Reels, I think, have helped make us be more video centric, but still.
Yeah. They're a little bit more like,
there's something about freezing a moment in time and sitting with it.
It's authentic.
Yeah.
Like when, sometimes you get lost in it. Like a lot of times when we're doing these kinds of things, I'll forget what kind of conversation we're having. Like, but at a certain point you're like, oh, like the camera's recording us and you're conscious of it.
Feeling it, yeah.
But sometimes, someone like you comes in and they have this like certain angle and eye, and you would have never thought that a moment could have been captured in that way. And like,
those are the photographers I love.
Yes, and you're one of them.
Thank you. I always want to, like when I realized I saw things differently when I was with my friends and we were all going to see Batman.
Okay.
And I didn't see a bat. I saw teeth.
Interesting.
I saw it backwards.
Isn't that interesting? You were just looking at
a
different angle.
I realized that is a bat. That what is wrong? Like Denise. But I was little. I mean, I was really little.
But still.
But I saw teeth and then I was like, oh my God. So I think artists, they naturally, not dyslexic or anything, but I think artists truly do see things a tad different.
I agree.
And they feel things more.
Yes.
It's a blessing and a curse.
You could take those like great photos that everyone wants on their wedding day. Those portrait type photos. And some of them, if you take great pictures and you have a great camera, like maybe you will take a great picture, but you're not going to get that artistic eye if you don't have that artistic lens even in your mind.
And now with digital, everybody can spray and pray and get lucky.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can. But there's something about somebody that tells the story and it's consistent through the whole gallery.
Yes.
Like this theme and the editing all matches and it's like a consistent feel throughout the entire 1,000 images or whatever.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Is that
Like,
how many just about?
if it's
you
a
deliver?
10-hour day,
A
so
1,000?
it's about 100 images per hour. I'm trying to cut back a little bit, but we love to shoot and like the camera doesn't leave my face.
Right.
So sometimes it's really like splitting hairs to cut something. So I give it.
Yeah.
So 100, that's a little bit much, I think.
100.
I think it's a bit much. I mean, there's some photographers that I admire that only give like 500 photos and they are like blown away. Because my dad used to say that too. He used to say, you know, the more images you give, the more it waters down a gallery.
Right.
Because everybody's highest, you know, percentage is going to be in the top 25% or whatever.
Right.
So what I do is I give a sneak peek first.
That's smart. Yeah.
A really nice one.
So how many are usually in the sneak peek?
Like a lot.
Okay.
Like at least 50.
That's a
at least
lot.
at
And
least
those
50
are
to
probably
100.
the ones that people always go back to also, you know.
And they look like an album. It's pretty much like I gave them their wedding album right away.
Yeah.
The week of the wedding, I gave them their wedding album in a sneak peek.
oh
you know
my
what I'm
gosh,
saying?
it's so nice.
Because your wedding album, you don't put all 1,000 photos in there. You put like 40.
Right.
You put like 40 pictures in your wedding album.
Exactly.
That's what I pretty much give.
Exactly.
Like
Oh,
the
that's
images that
smart.
I would use to put in an album, I pull them out right away.
Yeah.
And anything with like grandparents or something, I
Yeah.
always like, or like the holidays, everybody wants like family portraits. And I'm like, I can't fulfill those orders and edit in line. So sometimes, you know,
Right.
I'm trying to build my team I have to build my team. I need more. It's growing.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a lot, but so that kind of brought me to a question that I had for you just about like the change of the industry. So, you know, back in the day, you would send maybe like, how many pictures? You'll know better than I do, but like, let's say, you know, 10, 15 years ago in a gallery, you're not sending 1,000 photos then,
and
right?
sneak peeks were smaller back then too.
Yeah.
Back then I remember sneak peeks were like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
truly.
then what, like 500 not even photos?
Yeah. Like my dad would deliver like 450 images.
Yeah. Which, like, think about that. Like 450 images is a lot. Like it's a lot of pictures.
Now
And
we do like double.
I know. It's crazy, but
Because
I
it's
think-
digital.
Yeah. But I think a lot of those, you know, trends, they recycle themselves. And even something like that, it's like, okay, well, maybe we won't do 1,000, but we'll get like really, really amazing, like 450, 500. And people appreciate that more because it's more of attention to detail.
Because they don't always have that photo editing skill.
Right.
I notice when people pick their own images to share sometimes,
Yeah.
I'm like, I like that image, but I wonder why they didn't pick this one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know what I think it is? I think like
It's the way they look.
that's exactly what it is. Yeah, like a bride sees herself, she's like, "Oh, I love the way my hair's laying in that picture. Like my arm looks really skinny. Like my ass looks pretty good." You know,
We are like that.
That's the one.
We
And
are like that.
I'm like so guilty of
I
it.
have to
try
remember, make everybody look as sexy as possible.
I try not to
Everybody.
do it when I'm picking, like especially family photos and stuff.
Yeah,
but
but
like
still.
automatically my eye goes to me and I'm like, oh, one of my eyes is half closed and like I'm looking like a chooch. Bad picture.
Exactly.
But it might be like
That's exactly
way better
what it
lit,
is.
you know? Like it might be the best photo.
But we see ourselves so specifically.
Totally.
That's why the engagement session is so key for me with my couples.
Yes.
Because I get in that girl's head.
Yeah.
What don't you like?
Right.
Do you don't like your arm? Okay. You don't like your hair that side? Like me, I'm on my side I don't like. Like this is my
Oh
side
my
I
gosh,
don't like.
I'm so sorry.
Oh
I
my
know.
God. But we're not, this is not for, this is a talking thing.
Yes.
But do you know what I'm saying? So
I
like,
do.
I always ask a bride, like, which side don't you like?
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Because everyone has a good side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or like if they're like before the wedding, if there's something they don't like, I can give them advice on what style of dress to stay away from or something. Like if you know your problem area is your back, please do not get a strapless dress.
Right. Because it's
Don't.
just good. Even if
It's
you
gonna
have like a
squeeze.
cut back, you know, it
Even
does
if
it a little bit.
Like I think I have a very lean back, but
Yeah.
it's muscular and I struggle wearing
yeah.
but like there are girls that are like stick skinny sometimes. But everyone is unique, and like I sometimes a dress you breaks the rule. Like you can't. Sometimes a strapless dress looks good on her. She does kill it even without it, or maybe her hair covers that or something.
Yeah.
But I just things like that we talk through because I'm so like detail oriented because I don't like when somebody doesn't like the way they look.
Yeah.
So in the engagement session, it's a really good opportunity, and I get feedback. And most of the time, I mean, I don't ever hear. Like everyone's always like, I am blown away. Like I just got a text message from a bride and she was like, I can't stop looking at these. Aww. I love these so much.
Oh, that probably feels so good.
And I'm like, because sometimes you hear like other photographers complaining.
Yeah. Like,
these brides won't come. And I'm like, I don't have that.
Sorry, can't relate.
But it's because, did you take the time?
That's what it comes down to.
You didn't
like
connect with her.
You were taking photos. You weren't like creating
a connection.
Memories. Yes, exactly.
I try to like connect with my brides. I really do. And there's times I can't. I don't meet them first.
Yes.
And it's a rushed day and we're connected. But there are some brides that become my friends.
Right.
Like one of my best friends was a bride.
Really?
Yeah. My friend Tatiana. She was one of my brides.
Yeah.
And I love her so dearly. And
yeah.
she was, sometimes it just happens.
Yeah. And it makes a huge, huge difference when you feel like someone understands you, because if you're not a professional model or you don't work with cameras a lot, like being in front of a camera is so vulnerable.
It is.
It's like,
it's scary.
It's scary. Like you start feeling self-conscious and like, kind of like we talked about, like, oh, is my like whatever showing? Is my, my ears popping out? Like I have a girlfriend who was so gorgeous. She has the most average sized ears in the world. And she is convinced that she has elephant ears. And she won't wear her hair up.
She saw somewhere one time.
Once upon a time. Yeah.
She thinks.
And it's the she'll always hide her ear for a picture.
So
Isn't it funny? I know. It's so silly.
Why are we so wackadoodle?
We're nuts.
I know.
And the thing is, the only people that care about it is us. Yeah.
Because everyone else is worried what they look like.
Right.
The same person you're worried that thinks they see your ear is thinking their nose is too big.
I know. It's so silly.
Crazy.
Like
we should just all love each other.
Yes.
And that's kind of how I make people feel in front of the camera. I kind of make jokes and light of it. And I make fun of myself.
Yeah.
And I'm a cheerleader. I am the biggest. That's what I think photographers need to do. Some people, their style is just hands off.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like that too, but I can't do that on a wedding day because I walk into situations and it's just too messy.
Right.
Like that's not my style. Like that works for some people, but like I don't want to see food trays and water bottles in the back of my getting ready pictures.
No.
And I don't want things to just haphazardly be, I direct a little bit, clean, stay a little bit, but it's like a mix of like, I'm going to direct this, make sure it's good, but whatever unfolds in that time slot is like what we get.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Totally.
So,
well, when it comes to like wedding planning too, the photographer and the wedding planner really have to defer to each other because of course, like you want the day to go off perfectly, but the bride, as much as she wants the great experience, she wants the photos of that experience as well.
Yes.
So, just kind of going through timelines and making sure things are aligned and like even in production, it's like, okay, is that in the way of a photo? Like, is a server, getting in the way of a shot?
Or if you're at a venue where first look, the bride wanted the first look in front of this one gate with ivy or something. But say the ceremony's going to take place there and the florist is setting up an arch somewhere. So there's buckets of flowers and stuff.
Yeah.
But that is literally the only other spot besides a parking lot. And that's where the bride wants the first look. A good planner will have your back on that.
Totally.
Before the wedding day and be like, I got you, girl.
Has to happen.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is really the only sticking points you ever really, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Stuff like that, I think.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot. Like, there are vendors in the industry that like are almost territorial.
Yeah.
And it's so odd to me because it's like everyone's
all
working
on the
to the
same
same goal.
team.
Like, yeah, we're
I don't
literally
have
trying to get to the
a
same
dog
point.
in this fight.
Like, what do you want to be the favorite or something? Well, if you pit, one of your vendors against the bride, she's not going to have a good day. That's not going to make your job easier because she's not like, we just want to make the couple happy.
Right.
That's the important thing.
Right.
That's the only thing.
What vendor do you find you struggled with the most as a planner?
Honestly,
Not struggle with.
Very lucky.
But what is the most cause for concern, I guess, or like the most, sticking points.
I've been very lucky in not having dealt with like major issues. When I worked for a venue, I did have a couple. So I worked in a 4-ballroom house at one point. Yes. And I would have, it was really a mix of everyone. Like that's where the issues would arise. And like, that's where I had to learn how to like think on my feet and be malleable and like problem solve, because someone would want to take a photo somewhere, but like the brides could never cross.
Yes.
And then I would need someone, you know, like I might have 3 weddings, like I might be the event manager for 3 weddings that night. So like, it's really important that timeline wise, this bride, you know, does her grand entrance at this time, because I need to be to this person, like if it gets delayed. So sometimes, you know, if like, let's just say, for example, because, you know, we're talking about photography, a photographer really needed a shot, like wanted a sunset shot. And like, I needed someone for their intros. It's like, okay, well, I have to get creative here. Like this is like, these are their wedding photos. So it's really important that they get the shot.
It's something you have to prioritize, the less of two evils, I guess.
Exactly. But that's what it comes down to. And, you know, fortunately, like I've talked with other planners and vendors, and like, you know, their issues typically are fewer and further between also, because like we said, like if you're in this industry, it's usually not for like the clout or money or like whatever. It's like because
and
you love
sacrifice a lot.
Exactly.
And I work a lot more actually. Not less.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You just have more flexibility.
You have more flexibility, yeah.
And
but like,
freedom.
You know, there are most nights it's like until 11 o'clock, like
Late
I'm working
nights,
and then I'm going
drive
right to
home,
bed.
long drive home.
Absolutely.
Missing your significant other or family.
Absolutely. That's a big issue.
You miss parties and functions.
If your sphere of people aren't in the industry, which mine are not, like you do sacrifice that time. You don't see them as often.
You don't. Now then, we don't cry too much because we get the winter.
Of course.
To like and a lot of my work, like you were asking me before, is like admin stuff and editing, you know, tidying up.
Yes.
Usually we finish the whole season by the end of January.
Yes.
Maybe February if we're really, you know, because we do. So it's 8 to 10 normally, but during busy season, it's like 10 to 12 weeks sometimes with the turnaround, just because we just, in September, 17 weddings, like I'm literally out shooting literally almost every day during the week. I have like 1 or 2 days where I'm not shooting.
Yeah.
And so those are the days where you do sneak peeks and stuff like that. Anyway,
it's exhausting.
It's a lot.
It is. It's a lot. It's a lot. I think it's something that people don't realize, and I do think it's important to touch on, because it's not like oh, poor us. It's like, love our jobs. It's not that. It's just like getting into the minds of, you know, your vendor and like kind of really understanding. So a big goal of mine through the podcast is to give people like tangible tips and, you know, things that they can take with them in their wedding planning that they might not have known. So one of the things that we kind of touched on, but I want to like go in a little further on, when you're choosing a photographer, it's, of course, you're looking at their style. You're looking at, you know, the things that they've shot, like maybe people who've been at your venue. But what advice could you give a couple in like really figuring out who is a good photographer to work with for them?
Yes. I think number one, they have to really know what's important to them first.
Yeah.
Like, so if somebody's very detail oriented, like I work with a lot of the same people in the same professions, I noticed.
Yeah.
I have a personality type.
What's your like most
very type A brides.
Okay.
Very detail oriented. They love talking through timelines.
Love it.
They are we have 2 conversations, like they give me detail. They don't mind detail. They're
so
on
nice.
time. They want to be on time. They're not like fly by the seat of their pants people.
Yeah.
A lot of like doctors, well, in Philly, doctors, lawyers, attorneys, that's the same thing. But people in healthcare, nurses, teachers, policemen.
Okay.
But like artists too.
Yeah.
Like, I get
because you
some
have
artists,
that like yin yang thing going where you're very artistic and creative, and you can also like blend those elements of like ethereal luxury, like very pretty.
Well, I think it's because I grew up kind of poor.
Okay.
Not poor, but so like I've worked whatever jobs I could take.
Yeah.
And so through like having to work jobs I didn't want to work for survival to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
And living paycheck to paycheck, it squeezed something out of me. This passion and this undeniable, like, I'm going to do this. I want this and I'm going to do it. I'm going to break through this because I don't want to live like this anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want, and I did,
Oh, it's so
you
cool.
know, and sometimes I have to have a moment where I'm like,
oh, I did this.
well, I mean, I do trust that, like, God, he made me, whatever.
Of course,
like,
yeah.
I know I had to step in line and step up and do it.
God helps those who help themselves. Like that I believe that for sure.
I do. But I used to cry and like pray, and like why? Because I would see people like back in the day was blogging. Yeah. Bloggers were like rising up. I would read everyone's blog.
Yes.
And so like bloggers were the big thing, and photographers, or like I followed Jasmine Star back in the day. And like I just was like, you know, I want that life. Like I want to work from home, be creative, and like do something. And like I didn't know what it was.
Right.
But I was in banking.
Right.
You know, because when the recession happened, 2008, everything was changing, and I was like, okay, I got to get out of publishing, and I got into banking. So but because of that job in banking, because I needed to pay the mortgage.
Yes.
That's what made me so type A. I read contracts.
Yeah.
I had to read contracts. I had to read regulations.
Yes.
And I had to train people on the regulations, and I had to like look at every mortgage we did at the bank. I had to review that for HMDA and CRA and the codes. And I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I was an artist.
That opened up the business owner side, because, you know, you can, like, they call them starving artists for a reason.
Exactly.
Like, if you are just a pure creative and you don't have that
you
business
have to run your
acumen,
business.
Totally. And that's the hardest part. Like that to me.
So
is
being
like,
poor and being forced to work at a stupid bank
yes,
was the biggest blessing.
Yes.
Because now I have muscle underneath foundationally to get me through COVID.
Totally.
When I had to get a PPP loan and unemployment and know all my
discover,
weddings
like,
moved
how
and
you're gonna
redo
pivot.
contracts and pivot.
Yes.
Because I had to do things before that were so, you know.
Right.
And then my community, my friends, like my photographer friends.
Yeah.
We held each other together.
Right.
And that network, you can't make it in this industry without each other too. Mm-hmm. You can't. You
true.
need second shooters.
Rising tides, raise all ships.
It's true.
It's like my battle cry.
My community, there are people that I reach up, that I look up to, and there are people that I pull up. It is a true net.
Totally.
And
it's beautiful.
we move and work in tandem. And if you don't play nice, you're not going to make it.
No.
You can't.
You can't.
You have to play nice with everyone.
You simply cannot. Like,
but at the same time, you can't make everyone happy.
you're never going to make everyone
You know what I'm
happy,
saying?
But like,
can
it's
at
not
least
about making people happy.
be a
It's
team
just about
player.
yes, like working well, being respectful. Like, you don't have to like everybody.
and
You
that's
just have
why-
to be respectful.
And picking your photographer, because like,
yes.
my friends who are all photographers, we are all similar but different.
Yeah.
And I think what a bride should consider is knowing her style, type A, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm type A, but there's my other friends, their husband and wife couple, they're the opposite. They're totally documentary. They don't like to get involved with anything, right? So they don't do anything. They don't stage or whatever. They just like go with it. And so that's their shtick. That's their thing. And people like that. Like the people that they connect with, that's what they're specifically looking for. But I think looking beyond someone's smoke and mirrors, because Instagram is good. You'll see it, especially if they have followers and you see consistently scrolling the work and everything.
Sure.
But like, you got to see their full galleries. Like, ask for full wedding day galleries at similar venues that in the season that you're going to be at. If you're getting married at a ballroom, in the city, don't look at somebody that only has vineyard outdoor weddings in California.
Right. Because their style might be
it's
beautiful,
just
but
not.
like, that's not what your wedding
That's not what your wedding
gonna look like.
Or like, if you're getting married in the winter, you've got to consider daylight.
Sure.
When do you want your pictures taken? Or New Year's Eve weddings?
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Like all of it. I don't know. So picking the photographer, I think also speaking to them at least once before you book.
Yeah.
You've got to talk to them and like hear what's important to them and see if you can just talk on a personal level.
Yes.
Like that. I think that the personal touch needs to be there. And like, do they make you feel comfortable?
Totally. It's like bedside manner, you know? Like
Bedside manner.
You can love someone's work and like think they're amazing and excellent, but if you talk to them and you don't like them, like that's your whole wedding day. You're spending the entire day with this person.
And they're in control of the most important thing.
Exactly. They are, like, people don't realize how in control, even like as a wedding planner doing a timeline, you have to consult with the photographer to find out what they're doing, when they're doing, where they're doing, because that folds into the entire day. It's like the thing.
And
so
planners know that.
Yes,
You guys
totally.
know that the photographer, like, it's key to be in line with her or him or
Totally.
her, because like if your dinner time is different than my dinner time is different than the DJ's dinner time is different than the maitre d's.
Yeah.
Now the couple might have to pay to have me stay an extra hour because we didn't get dancing, and it could have been avoided.
Yeah.
If the photographer talked to the bride or talked to the planner. If everybody, and I don't go into the wedding day without ensuring, and I ask my bride, does the planner and the DJ and me, do we all have the same, like, you're sure we're all operating off the same timeline?
Yes.
You know,
It's
and
okay.
just, or checking with the planner if I'm not sometimes I'm not, it's very rare, but like,
Yeah.
the planner, you know, just being like, hey, this really is like, we're all, you know,
Totally.
more when it comes to the reception too, because
Yeah.
sometimes like I just don't want them to like feel like they don't have adequate coverage and feel like they have to pay for overtime.
Sure.
Because it was just an oversight on a timeline thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It all runs into each other. And like, if you don't have that basic underlying foundation, that understanding and like mutual respect, you are going to spend your entire day with this person. And if you hate them, like, it's going to show. It's going to show on your face.
It's going to ruin your day.
It's going to ruin your day. So like, as much
And
as
when you look at
might-
the pictures, all you're going to remember is that feeling you felt.
that damn,
bad
and it
feeling.
doesn't just go for photographers, it goes for any vendor. Like, I hear, you know, I use the
I worked
word
a wedding where the
lot.
mom and the bride did not like the planner.
Oh,
And all they did all day was complain to me.
really? Oh my god.
Because the planner was late. The
And
planner
that's
got
not
there
what
after
you
me.
want. Like,
It was weird. But the planner was really late, and the planner didn't know what was going on. It was just like weird. I don't know what was going on. Something must have been going on in that person's life.
Yes.
And that's what I always think. And I don't attack people or judge them too hard. I'm like, something must be going on, but you're here paid for a job. Like,
hello,
You know?
for the biggest day of some, and
Yeah.
like, there's so much pressure as a vendor
So
too,
much.
because there are no repeats. Like, this is it.
if I don't get that, and that's why family portrait list, I always get that grouping list. That's why another type A thing. I like brides who are type A.
Yes.
Because they'll give you that list.
Yes.
The brides that don't give you the list of their family, like they'll be, I'll give it to you, I'll give it to you, I'll give it to you, and they never give it to you.
Yes. Well, that's another
That
thing.
doesn't happen very often, but
Usually they, like, you know, if you're asking for it, like, that's important to them. But you're right. Like,
Yeah.
things, you know, they start prioritizing other things and they forget about it. I wanted to ask you,
Yes.
you know, in prep for a wedding, like, there's so many things that you're doing to prep. And I was wondering if you could share anything that people could do to, like, help you help them. Like, how can they just make your job a little easier so that you can capture the best photos, like, beforehand, as far as preparation for the wedding goes?
I think giving me the most information, they giving me like a mood board and like like sample images they've seen of their venue that show that, because like what that does, it's not for me to copy or anything like that.
No, of course.
It's for me to understand why they chose what they chose, why they like what they like.
Yeah.
And like the best galleries I ever deliver are the ones where the bride communicates with me the most, where she sends, and some photographers hate that.
Really?
I've had associates not be associates with me because they don't want to be an associate for me because they don't want to call the bride.
They don't want to be as, like, hands-on.
So I won't have people on my team that won't like talk to the bride. Like you
Yeah.
can't just email a bride.
Right.
You can't.
You have to have
I mean,
that.
if there's a planner and the planner says no,
Yeah.
but there is a connection that we absolutely need.
Yes.
And there are some high-end celebrity wedding photographers. I know they don't get to meet the couples.
Right.
And that's at a very different level.
Sure.
They're getting paid they're getting paid 40 grand a wedding and up. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't even,
It's
sometimes they
different.
get 5 minutes for portraits, 10 minutes for portraits. They don't see the couple. Maybe one day I'll get there. But right now, my brides and I, we talk 2 times. I get in their head. I want to see and hear why they chose their venue.
Yeah.
I want to see their dress. I want to see if they want to give me a PowerPoint, they give me, like I don't care. Like some of the best weddings, they told me, I love my venue for this spot, for this reason. This is what I feel. This is what I felt. Or my one bride, Tatiana, I loved her because she was like, I wanted to feel like an angel, but a fallen angel. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, so
like the descriptors.
So like, yeah. Or like some of my brides, they don't know what it is, but they're just open.
Yeah.
And they're open to my advice.
Yeah.
And they're communicative and they trust me.
Yeah.
So, and they give me, like that list, like the family grouping portrait list. Cause that is such a silly little thing.
But it's so important.
But the day can turn for the worse if the family portrait time is, cause you have all the family there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it gets chaotic and they just want to go to the bar or whatever.
Totally.
So you have to be organized. You have to have that list and you could go on with combinations forever.
Right.
So you actually need that list from the bride because she'll be like Samantha, Jim, Joe, Jackie, Letitia, whatever.
Right.
And then the next one, Drake, Sarah, and you literally, my second shooter will call out those names and check them off while I'm shooting and it goes fast.
Totally.
But that's like a thing you take for granted. But we need that list.
And that's where like a wedding planner comes in conjunction because sometimes, you need like step siblings and like aunt or someone and everyone's just running amok in cocktail hour. And it's like, okay,
Planner can kind of help.
Planner can help. Or, if you don't have a planner, if you want to like designate a person to do that, like
that's what I tell them.
Just
and
have
I tell
your
them,
like loudest friend who doesn't care
and
to be the bad guy. Yeah.
Group text them.
Totally.
I say like your extended family, like aunts, uncles.
Yeah.
Have your mom or dad.
Yeah.
Text them.
Totally.
5:30, be there.
You gotta be there.
We want a photo.
Yeah. Ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like remind them ahead of time. Have someone remind them day of like.
And right before the ceremony starts, the front row, when I'm standing at the front waiting for everybody to start, waiting for it to start, everyone in the front row is family.
Yeah.
So I start talking to them and I'll be like, hey, after the ceremony, I have a list. Are you and your family? Stay.
Yeah.
Or can you tell so-and-so? Like I try to.
Totally.
Like that is the most stressful part of the day.
Yeah.
Is family portraits.
I bet it is.
Because everyone's hungry. Everybody wants a drink.
And people get so testy during that time too. They're like, where is he? Like,
they really do.
Yeah.
They really do.
I told him to be here at whatever time. I know. It's so
hard.
It's so hard. But like having the right person.
That list and them doing that makes my job easier. Because that's really my only part of the day.
Yeah.
And making sure everybody has the same timeline.
Yeah.
Like, just if the planner or the bride, just making sure we are all operating, just not having too many, chefs in the kitchen.
Right.
Because if everybody's creating their own timeline, and then not everybody's updated. I had that at a venue once. I shoot out all the time, and the maitre d' and the band member and we all had a different timeline, and we had to fix it, and we did. We worked well together because I shoot there all the time. But like, what if the DJ or the band leader was a real jerk that day?
Right. It's like a rescue run.
Anyway,
I'm just checking our time.
Are we good?
Because what time do you have to leave?
Soon.
Okay. All right. Yep. Then I feel like we got
good.
so much good stuff.
I know.
I want to wrap it up because everything just happened. Like all the things I wanted to ask you
could talk
about,
for days.
I could talk to you forever.
And I have 16 years in this, so I literally could talk, and it's like annoying.
I know. I love listening to you talk. You're so everything that I wanted to touch on, we naturally got there, which is so great.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah. So
I listen to your podcast, and everything that you talk about with other guests really resonates with me.
That's cool. That's so nice
I feel
to
like
hear.
we've either I feel that way, or when we were in conversation, we talked about certain things.
Yes.
So, and like, I really love your podcast. And
appreciate that
I'm so
much,
thankful that we met.
I am too.
I just feel like this is such a good friendship.
I agree.
You're kindred.
A breath of fresh air. You're
like iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely. You're so wonderful. Before I let you go, I want to do 2 things with you. One is a little game. So we'll start with that, and then every episode we do an after party. So it's just like fun little party questions. But
Love it.
Okay, so for the game, if you could choose one couple to shoot for, dead, alive, fictional, who would you shoot for a wedding?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. I am such a Swiftie.
Who would not want to shoot that?
I know.
I'm not even a Swiftie, but I want that wedding.
Oh my God.
That was the first one that popped in my...
You'd never have to work again. I am, and I would
That
be
popped
like,
in my head.
oh my God, I would be like so lifting you up on that. That will be a good one.
That would be really stressful, but really fun. And I'd probably bring like all my photographer friends and be like, I need 4 photographers. Please come help me shoot this.
Oh my God, I would be there just to like hand you water. You know, I would work
I
for
would be
free
like,
that day.
Adriana, you're with me. We are doing this.
Oh my God, I love it. Amazing. This is such a good answer.
It's good. Let's manifest it.
Taylor and Travis. Hi, Denise.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. All right. Next question. Favorite wedding you've ever been a part of? I know it's so hard. And it doesn't have to have been one you worked. Like it could have been like a friend's or whatever, but it could be anyone.
Oh, that is so hard.
I know.
Like, do you want me to say their names or like what kind of wedding it was? Like the
Yeah.
style?
Yeah. Like what was the style? What was the vibe? Like who were they to you?
Okay. So honestly, like there's a few couples that I have photographed. Like there's a couple of girls where I photographed not only their wedding, but like her sister's wedding then.
Yeah.
And then I photographed 2 girls that were best friends. Now, it says a lot when 2 girls will like still use the same photographer.
Yes.
Because most time girls don't share things like that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. It's
Like,
so weird, but it's true.
Yeah, like best friends or sisters. So like, but they're close and they like to share those times in their lives. Like they're pregnant together on the same time. Both of these girls.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
And honestly, those are my favorite kind of weddings.
Yeah, because you feel like you know.
I get to
that
know
the
the family,
Yes.
and they almost kind of adopt you.
Yeah.
And the parents are always awesome.
Yes.
The parents are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like everywhere. And like the other group, so that was Alyssa and Lauren's wedding from the Lehigh Valley, and they're from the Lehigh Valley, and they were my like. I remember when Alyssa hired me for her wedding, it was at Hotel Bethlehem, and it was a long time ago.
Okay.
And I just like connected with her, and it was in the Lehigh Valley. And then like her sister got married at Park Chateau, and they're just stunning girls.
Yeah.
These 2 girls are just so beautiful.
Oh my God. Shout out Alyssa
The
and Lauren.
fashion and just like sometimes for me it's the heart of a wedding more than it was a chateau in France, which I've shot at chateaus, I've shot on the water, I've been places that were like stunning to shoot.
Yes.
Whether it was a real wedding or an editorial, it depends. I shot a wedding in Hawaii. Like I love those types of situations too, because I love the grandeur and the beauty and all of that.
Yeah.
But I also like really, really, really love the heart. Like Alexis, and like when I shot Lexi's wedding, and then I shot Katie's wedding, and like now they're pregnant together, but like and their moms, like how their moms treat me.
That's so
like her mom. It was
special.
Mother's Day. I got one of them got married on Mother's Day, and I had to shoot their wedding, and I missed Mother's Day, and the mom gave me a present for Mother's Day, and like. So it's just like
Stuff like that goes a really long way.
Like I'm a sucker for the little things.
Yeah, but
is that weird?
Because they matter.
Because some people would be like, "Well, it was this amazing wedding at the New York Public Library with the Queen of England." Like that's great. I want that too. But like the things that really last and
But that's
stand
not gonna
it.
be your favorite. It's like what you remember.
I'm going to
is
go to the
heart.
grave with those relationships. Those are going to be my eternal reward. That connection I have.
Yes.
And like that's what I think in the heart of the matter, you got to keep the heart. If you're in this for ego, you won't last.
Yeah.
Because I got published in Martha Stewart Weddings, and it felt really good. Yes. But when it happened, by the time it finally happened, it was like it was lost on me. You know what I mean? Not lost on me, but it didn't. Nothing felt different,
right?
Because now I'm like,
life.
well, I want the cover of Vogue,
right?
You're always going to have another goal.
Yeah.
So what really satisfies you is the relationships, and I've learned that
That's
in
true.
16
and
years.
Things like
not
that,
ego.
Things like that like, of course that feels good. Like, who
course it
wouldn't want
does.
to be published in Martha Stewart wedding? It's like,
Put my name in
it's
lights.
like,
Who's not
of
going
course.
to? We are human.
And also,
we are human.
you're 2
Yes.
years running Philadelphia Power Player.
Thank you.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Thank you. I love modern luxury weddings, Philadelphia. They are such an amazing publication in the city, and like I love working with them. And like honestly, the weddings that I like get to shoot because of like when I get published there, and then like connecting, it's just like those are the weddings I love too.
Totally.
I love the city weddings.
Yes.
Some photographers don't like city weddings. They
Yeah.
don't like ballrooms. They don't like Philadelphia weddings.
Yeah.
But I think as I live there, maybe it's different.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, I love it too.
I love the city vibe.
It is. It's
the
so
modern,
fabulous. Yeah. But it's the heart of it. That's
Yeah.
what it comes back to.
Sorry.
No, please. I would keep you for
Wish
like
I had a more generic answer, or like a more like.
It's a good answer. I'm glad that you have something that's outside the box. Like sometimes, you hear a lot of the same stuff, and it's nice to hear something a little different. What is the most unique thing you've seen at a wedding?
The most unique thing I've ever seen at a wedding. Maybe maybe there's like there was a little pony, a little donkey pony, like serving tequila. That was kind of during cocktail hour. That was kind of interesting.
I'm obsessed by
And so
himself.
that just popped in my head.
Wait, so this lone
No, there was
pony,
like a guy
he had a
walking
handler.
with it. Yeah.
I am obsessed.
And he was like, I think it was like tequila or something.
That sounds perfect for
Yeah.
me. I am like a tequila girl through
Yeah,
and through.
she was like, yeah, I have a picture of it. It was like a donkey, like serving something during cocktail hour. And I was like, that's really unique. I've never seen that.
I am obsessed. Okay.
So
Love that.
odd.
Love it. Love it. Okay. What is the craziest thing you've ever seen at a wedding or experienced?
I think like a fight. I did see a fight once.
Yeah, that's really tough.
Family, like a family member was not invited or came or something, and it was a long time ago.
Yeah. I unfortunately had a couple of those.
I thought that was crazy. It was
It
like a
is
Jerry
crazy.
Springer moment. I was like,
it's really scary and it's really sad. It's just don't fight at people's
don't
weddings.
fight. Like,
Do
just
not
stay away.
stop. I
Yeah.
know. Just,
Why ruin someone's
fight
day?
tomorrow.
Yeah, like why ruin someone's day?
I know.
I felt so bad for this bride too.
It's so sad. It's
because
like,
she knew the drama before,
Yeah.
and I was warned about it, and she was like, "I don't think," but
damn, it sucks. It's really annoying. Okay. Okay. So those
Positive.
are
end on a more positive note.
yes. And then, so before we get to our after party, what is one photography trend that you'd like to see in 2024? So maybe it hasn't happened yet, but if you could project it.
Ooh, just maybe more documentary style.
Ooh,
like
okay.
just bringing in more of that, because we were on such a like editorial stiffer, like fine art kind of a
Yes.
thing. Now I think more people are embracing that modern flair, like artsy loosey goosiness.
Yes.
So maybe that.
Okay,
I think that's
love it.
coming. Like the motion blur, the light trails, the direct flash, like stuff that we weren't doing on a whole. You were only seeing certain photographers doing it, and you were like, whoa. Now
Yes.
you're seeing it a little bit more, but I think in 2024 it's really gonna.
I'm excited to see it because I feel like,
Do
get
you
into
feel
these-
it too, or is it just me?
I do. Like you start to look at things. It's like, oh, a lot of this is like starting to look the same. And
Yeah,
as
like I'm
people
getting
emulate
bored
each
a little
other's
bit with certain things. I'm not going to
styles,
say what, but I was starting to feel a little
Yes.
bit bored with something.
It's not to say that it's
and now
not
I'm feeling
beautiful.
a fresh wind coming in.
And it's
I'm
also
ready.
like for us, we're so in it and we see it all the time. So like if someone likes a certain style and like that's what they want for the wedding photos, that's great. Like there's no shame in that. It's just
No.
like, things that as a photographer,
Do you
like,
remember
wanna
when
see.
barn weddings were in?
Do I?
And do you remember
Yes.
when they were fading, like with the lace and the burlap and all that
Oh
weird,
my gosh,
like
the mason jars and the
and the
whole nine.
and that was like slowly fading out.
Yep.
But then there were still people that liked it because they're not in our industry. They don't see it 8 times a month.
and they loved it.
And they love it
They were
because
really
it's
inspired
one
by it.
time they see it.
Yes.
And so there are certain times where you feel like you're like a pop singer singing the same song 25 times in a day and you're
Yes.
tired of it, but it's their first time hearing it.
Totally.
So I'm excited for the new wind.
Oh, I'm excited too. Okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous. And then before I let you go, we do our after party every episode. So
I'm so caffeinated.
I'm ready to like take off like a rocket.
This is some good coffee.
There's across the street. There's this adorable little coffee shop, Ventnor Coffee, and I don't think you need any.
I don't need any more.
The next time you come down, we'll go there because it's so good.
Let's do it.
Okay, so after party. Question number 1: what is your top recommended honeymoon destination?
So a lot of people, like, I'm seeing Sardinia, Italy. It just looks so beautiful.
Oh my God, gorgeous.
Sardinia, Italy. And then you could go to other parts.
Yeah, you can like travel all about.
That's right, yeah.
Gorgeous. Okay, question number 2. What is your dream wedding cake flavor?
Coconut with mango icing and like maybe, or every tier is different.
Oh
like
my gosh.
coconut cake, mango cake, guava, passion fruit, like a very tropical, like each tier is different with like the icing or the something, but like more of a buttercream, but like not too sweet.
Oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. We need to like have someone make that.
Like
That
I
sounds so
want
good.
that, like a tropical, like I just something about that.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
really,
because
really
somebody
good.
once had like a cake that at each level, and I remember thinking, what would my flavors be?
Yeah.
and I always am drawn to those flavors.
Oh my
But you could
gosh.
really do it with anything.
I
You could do
wouldn't
like
think of it,
Earl
but,
Grey
like,
tea, lavender,
I have a lavender
rose
latte in the fridge right
you know,
now.
and like I'm thinking of you, like because you
yes.
like rose
I
and
do.
lavender
I
and
do.
all that.
Yes, you're right.
You got that drink.
Yes, the rose.
Yeah.
Yes, and now I have lavender in there.
So,
Okay,
go
that
ahead.
sounds so good.
good.
What song do you need to hear at a wedding?
Oh God, what song do I need to hear?
Like, what's gonna get you on the dance floor? What's gonna get your ass shaken?
So definitely, I love the New Jersey DJs. They are so good. The fist pump runs, the one that get people crowd surfing.
good.
I'm sorry, I just love it.
It's so
I
fun.
love those DJs that
Yes.
just like that. Like the what is that called even?
Like the
real DJs.
Yeah.
Like you would see them at like they could go do a festival or they could do like I like that to dance. Like 'cause
Yes.
when I'm shooting a wedding, I can't literally. Because I don't see those ones as often. I more see the bands and stuff like
Right.
that. And so
More
I hear
classic
the
stuff.
same songs all the time.
Yeah, because bands in the
Yeah.
repertoire have, a certain
Yeah.
set in there. where
And
it's
it
like
has
a
to
DJ can
appeal
throw
to all
in-
ages
Yeah,
and get
for
everybody
sure.
moving. So, but like I think there's not necessarily a song I hear. There's
Okay.
songs I don't want to hear.
What songs don't you want to hear?
Celebrate. Please,
Cool
God.
and the Gang.
Celebrate good times. No.
Do not celebrate.
Ban that. Or I want to dance with somebody.
Woo!
And they think that's the song that's going to get everybody on the floor. It kind of does, though. For the older
That's
people.
the crazy part. Like,
I'm just being
there's-
candid.
No, I
Yeah.
love it. There's so many songs, and I'm like, if I ever can hear this song again, and then I'm at a wedding as a guest,
And
I'm
then
like,
you do it, and then you do it,
I
and then
know.
you do it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but-
so stupid. And then last question for you in our after party
Yes.
is: if you could impart one piece of wisdom to any couple planning a wedding, what would you tell them?
To really just remember it's just one day.
Yeah.
So relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Like take the stress off it.
Yeah.
A little if you can.
Try.
I know you're spending a lot of money and all of that. But like literally like enjoy it too because it's gonna be here and gone.
Right.
And like your marriage is what lasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like just keep it in perspective. Don't put too much pressure on the day that you can't enjoy it.
Totally.
That's it.
Totally. Oh,
That's it.
Denise, you are so
I
fabulous.
love
Thank you. I
you.
love you.
I'm
Thank
so
you for doing this. Oh. I will link where everyone can
Okay.
find you, but do you know your handles and stuff like off the top of
Yeah.
your head? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Where can everyone find you?
Instagram
Yes.
is Denise Marie _ photography. It rhymes. Denise Marie _ photography. Website is DeniseMarie.photography. It's not a .com, it's a .photography because Denise.com was taken.
Well, whatever. Photography is better.
Denise Marie.photography.
Love it.
New rebrand coming. Can't wait.
Yay! So excited for you and all the things that you've accomplished and continue to accomplish. I love following
And
your
I'm
work
excited about our friendship.
Me too.
And just everything. We have to get together with our significant your husband.
Yes. I'll
Nice
make him
meeting
come
you.
out before you leave and say hi. He's
'Kay.
working back
Oh,
there. Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. He's quiet. That Jake.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode today. Please like, review, rate, subscribe, follow, whatever the things are. It's really, really helpful. If you do support us, there's something in it for you too. You'll have the opportunity to win a free prenup bridal prep planner. We give one away every month. I have the directions on how to do that below, so make sure you check that out. Thank you again for listening. Happy planning. See you next Wednesday.